motion. Anybody wants to make a motion?
I will motion that we accept the minutes of May 8th, 2020.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Do we have a second to the
I'll
motion?
second.
Okay, Karen seconds. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor of approving the minutes of May 8th as they were submitted, say aye.
Aye.
And any nays? Are we all ayes? Because we're supposed to do a roll call on this. So we'll make sure that I'm voting aye. Kyle, how do you vote?
Yes.
Yes. Bill?
Aye.
Aye. Karen?
Yes. Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
And Finley?
Aye.
Okay, good. All right. We've got the official business done with. Discussion of the, well, first of all, the Sahegan River footbridge. I don't know if we got to talk about this last time or not, but since at least since the last meeting agenda was put together, there's been some discoveries on the Sahegan River footbridge, mainly structural deficiencies as a result of corrosion in some of the underpinning to the footbridge itself, to the walkway. The footbridge is officially closed, and Kyle, maybe you can update us on where things are with it right now between you and the council and what the thinking is.
Sure, I'd be happy to, Nelson.
Thank you.
So as you mentioned, I won't go into great detail unless any of you guys want me to about the condition of the bridge. But following structural inspections this spring, we did have a need to close the bridge permanently at this point. The review or the recommendation from the structural engineer was that although it could be repaired, it would be quite costly to repair and would likely only be a short-term repair due to the conditions that the bridge is in, the salt spray that it likely gets from the turnpike, and the type of bridge it is, that we'd probably be in a cycle of repair almost permanently. So the recommendation of the consultant was a replacement project, and the estimate was about $600,000 to remove the existing bridge and put a new bridge in its place. So then of course the big question is, how do we fund it? I got permission from Eileen in May to apply for a grant round from the Land and Water Conservation Fund. So we did a pre-application for that grant. It's from the State Park Service that runs that grant program, and it's a 50% reimbursement program up to $300,000, which worked really nice for our project, of course. So I did put in back in May. We submitted the pre-application for that grant. On June 17th, the program manager from the state came down and walked around the area with me to take a look at the project and kind of give advice on how to, if given the opportunity to apply for the full grant, how to proceed with it and what we need to do to be successful. So it was a really good meeting. He gave a lot of good advice. The biggest piece he said was that if we submit the project as the bridge itself, it's probably not going to score very well, because their whole goal in the LWCF program is to encumber trails and parks to maintain them in perpetuity. And that's one of the caveats that comes with this grant, much like the grant that we took on Watson Park. It's a forever grant, and if we take it, we're forever under their rules. It's similar to the arrangement that was previously made for the park areas at O'Gara Drive. That was a lease from the school. Because that was a lease arrangement that has expired, but typically they don't ever expire. So some of the advice he gave or suggestions he made for when we do fill out the grant application to allow us to score better was to focus on the connections that the bridge actually makes and encumbering some of the trails that come with it. We actually stopped down at Wildcat Falls Conservation Area, that trailhead. He was actually pleased to see all the cars down there and that the park was being used. So he's the only one, I guess. I did suggest to him all the concerns that were going on there, and that the town council would likely not want to make that part of the project, and he thought that'd be fine. But what he did recommend was there's a trailhead access to the pedestrian bridge from West Chamberlain Road, with a fairly steep and not very well maintained traverse down from there, and of course that's part of the whole town center pedestrian plan. So he suggested a kiosk to let people know that that's actually a trailhead at the end of West Chamberlain, and doing some minor upgrades to the trail down to the pedestrian bridge would certainly help. And then the other piece he would look for is from the other side, from the north side of the pedestrian bridge down to the Salhegan River Trail TAP project, which of course, as you guys know, was supposed to be part of the TAP project, but because of the cost of the project, we had to scale it back. He suggested maybe, it could be as simple as upgrading the path, putting some hard packed material down instead of the natural earth material that's in the forest trail now. So that was kind of his recommendation, and that's as far as we've gone at this point. I'm waiting to hear, and I expect we will get this, but I'm waiting to hear on whether our project is approved to apply for the grant or not, because it is a lot of work, in his words, to fill out the application, and he wants to make sure a project has a legitimate chance before putting a town's efforts into applying for it. The other key piece of the grant, and this one is not negotiable at all, is the town has to have ownership or perpetual rights to the entire corridor that we're applying for. Now, I'm fairly certain we have it from the river trail to the pedestrian bridge. The area leading up to West Chamberlain, I know we have sewer line there and drainage lines there, so we have easements. But we're working on that research right now, just to make sure that the town has clear title or easement to all of those areas, because that'll be a key part of the application as well. So that's really all I have to report at this time. I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys might have.
Well, thank you, Kyle. That's a good report. Question is, you are pursuing this right now? Is that correct? You or DPW is pursuing?
Yes, yeah. Town Manager Cabanel gave me permission to apply for the pre-application.
Yeah.
At this point, we're in a standstill until we get invited to fill out the full grant application. But we are going ahead with the deed research.
Yeah.
Because we want to be ready for that aspect.
Yeah.
Should we get invited to apply?
Yeah. And I guess if we don't have ownership, I guess we're in deep doo-doo, right?
Well, not necessarily. It's certainly one more piece that we'd have to work through.
Yeah, we'd have to. We just don't include that piece.
Possibly. The good news is the river trail side of it, through the woods, that's mostly school property. But I believe we had worked out all of those property rights as part of the river trail project. So I'm fairly certain we have that nailed down.
I am too.
It's the south side of the pedestrian bridge. And whatever the language is that the town received from DOT to go under their Merrill's Marauders Bridge, we'll have to make sure that that little piece of the trail is permanent right to the town as well.
Yeah,
It can't just be a sort of temporary easement from the DOT. It has to be a permanent easement
yeah,
from the DOT. So that might be one of the stickier pieces, but we just have to do the deed research, and Don is working on that currently.
Yeah.
So.
Kyle, here's a heads up. I've been told, and I don't know if it's true or not for sure, but that there is another piece of land between the so-called 80 acres, which is the Wildcat Falls Park, and and the school property. There's a piece in there that's owned by DOT. It is still part of the borrow pit for the original Effie Turnpike construction. And they had indicated to someone in the town that the town tried to get it granted, and they got some kind of a verbal okay, but we're going to wait until we're done with the upgrades to the Effie Turnpike in case we need some of the borrow material. That's a story, okay? I don't have any facts.
So I can give some legitimacy to the story.
Okay.
This dates back to when the EdCAC was still involved, and
Yeah.
Deb Huffman was still involved in your group.
Yeah.
I worked with Deb on that concept, and Tim Tenhave as well.
Yeah.
And so we did. We submitted a letter to the state asking to have that turned over to the town as conservation land.
Yeah.
The response was not that they wanted to give it to us or would. The response was they're not going to take any action on it until the Turnpike widening project is completed.
Yeah.
They were reserving it in case they needed land to do wetland mitigation on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
at this point, the state has made no commitment to the town
Okay.
to offer that to the town. They simply stated that until the widening project was done, is not something they would consider.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Just food for thought. I don't think we could use a northern extension on the north side. I mean, let's say a westward extension on the north side of the river to connect into Wildcat Falls as part of this project that you just talked about, because we clearly don't own that land.
That's correct.
Yeah.
100% correct.
Right. Okay, questions or comments from anyone on this new twist in the ongoing saga? Okay, if nothing, Kyle, is there any news on the Sahegan River Trail itself and the work that Quantum has done and is doing, and how does that whole project still on track? Any new wrinkles?
So no new wrinkles. As I reported last time, the final report was submitted to DOT. They're in the review process right now. They did tell us we had to take one more visit back to the cultural resources folks. I'm not sure why.
Oh dear.
But Quantum is working on putting that meeting together, and I don't anticipate any hiccups at this point.
Yeah.
I believe we're really close to getting the go ahead to proceed into final design.
Yeah.
And once we do that, we'll just roll forward to the completion of the plans. And we do still expect to, as long as funding is available, be able to put it out to bid.
Yeah.
It's winter
Yeah.
for construction next summer, which hopefully that works out.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. Any questions or comments from the committee on that particular issue? Well, the next item on the agenda is our budgets, and I understand everybody's budget passed, and I think that's good news because we had a little money in there, right, Kyle, for the town side, and then we
We have $200,000 dedicated for the
Sidewalks.
Woodbury sidewalk.
Yay.
Yeah. So, what do you figure will be the timing on that roughly? You gonna do design this fall or something, or?
Yeah, so we're gonna have to put our heads together. The budget just passed Tuesday, so we
Yeah.
haven't had a chance to sit down and talk about it at this point.
Yeah,
It, unbelievably, um, as 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 much of the country has slowed down with COVID, for us, we've never been busier.
yeah,
So we're gonna have to find a way to squeeze it in, and we'll certainly do our best to do so and see if we can't get it constructed next year.
Yeah.
We'll certainly have to be cognizant of school starting in the fall. I don't know that we'd want contractors out there in September and October timeframe. So we're gonna have to work the schedule to make sure we can get it done in an appropriate time and to accommodate.
yeah. Well, there's some tricky design work to be done yet, right? To accommodate the drainage and all of that. It's not just 5 feet of sidewalk and a curb, right?
Yeah, there's a lot to it. There's a lot of drainage, and we've had requests from town councilors as well to look into expanding the scope of the project to include trailheads for Wildcat Falls. I don't know what the status of that will be. As you know, ultimately we take our direction from the town manager and the town council. We can build and design whatever they would like. What was in the budget was just doing the sidewalk. So
Yeah.
if the scope is going to expand, that'll have to be talked about with the town council as well.
Oh dear. Finley. What do you say?
Just trying to recall, Kyle, has a project been chosen yet?
Yeah,
What-
you guys, during the budget hearings, there was a fair amount of discussion about it.
Right.
At the end, it was decided that it would be Woodbury.
Oh, okay. I didn't recall that. I knew it was up in the air, and of course, I'm advocating Woodbury for all the reasons that we understand. But
Right. Yeah, I believe, I don't think it was unanimous, but I think
Okay.
it was a majority. And I don't know if there was an actual vote or just consensus given. But my understanding is there was clear direction that the money in the budget was for Woodbury.
very good.
Ooh, okay. We're almost there again.
Again,
Yeah. Okay, well, all right. Well, good luck with it, Kyle. Keep us posted, I
Yeah, and
guess.
I guess the last piece of that, of course, is
Yeah.
that we'll obviously need some easements from the school district to be able to do that as well. So we'll be in touch with you and your folks for that piece of it.
Yeah, okay. Well, Matt, tell us about your budget. I understand your warrant article passed for the study. Is that true?
Yeah, that is a true statement. We like the town, we had our vote Tuesday, and the warrant article for the master plan study for $82,500 passed, which is good news for us. So we'll begin that process over the next year. This summer is kind of jammed up with planning for next year and what school will look like. We have probably 5 different task forces and maybe 100 people working on it, principals, assistant principals, teachers, staff. We have a parent group that's also helping the superintendent out with ideas and whatnot on how to begin the school year based upon the data at the present time, and how to transition if the data gets worse or the data gets better. So we're wrapped up in that, but we'll be taking a look at that and starting that master plan. And I think because we're going to be tied up this summer, I don't think there's going to be a push to get it done as quickly as possible. We'd like to take our time on this and look at it throughout the course of the at least first part of the year, maybe second part of the year. And obviously, the sidewalk going up O'Gara is going to be an integral part of it. And we'll plan for that, and we'll plan for the reconfiguration of traffic flow, which is, I'm glad Kyle's thinking about us during, September with, the kids who drive, who come down Brentwood, and then they go down Woodbury, and that would create some sort of a bottleneck or some sort of a safety condition there, at least for the high school kids and their exuberance to get out of class in the afternoon. I don't blame them. I was the same way, so it is what it is.
Yeah, some things never change.
Being young again has its merits, So yeah, we're looking forward to that. The one article, it was a petition warrant article. It was the demolition of the Brentwood building, the Red House.
Yes,
That did not pass.
did not.
It did not. It would have given us kind of it'll probably be, I don't want to say it's going to be a recommendation of the master plan, but now it's going to be part of the master plan because that building is still there. So we're going to have to address it, and that'll be a recommendation. So hopefully when the master plan gets approved, and if that's part of it, to demolish that building to make room for some additional parking or for some different kind of traffic flow or something like that, that'll be incorporated into the master plan and be seen as a part of a whole as opposed to a standalone. So, and plus we have a new school board member who I think I forget her name, but it may be Laurie Rothaus. And we are very happy. We are very happy at that. Laurie's a good individual. I have known Mrs.
Great.
Rothaus as Mr. Rothaus for a goodly number of years on various committees, and it's a pleasure to have her aboard. So we're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I'm excited for her. I think she's going to have a lot of fun the next 3 years.
Well, especially in the time where we are. She probably feels fortunate not to be a high school principal anymore.
Yeah.
We'll be able to,
Honest to goodness.
and we'll be able to use her expertise from education from all those years to help guide us through, this remote learning dual system, perhaps, and that it's always good to have somebody with some experience, and she has tons of it. So we'll be looking forward to her input on the school board. And I was happy, so I am happy.
That's very kind, Matt. We appreciate it. I'll pass that on. And I have already, by the way.
Yes, I know.
Matt, will you be sitting on this master planning committee? There's going to be a committee set up to do the.
Yeah, there's going to be a committee. We're probably going to be looking at incorporating the school district planning and building committee, of which Finley is a member of. As Laurie, but she'd probably have to step away from that, being a school board member, and there'd be another school board rep. So I would be on the committee, the school district planning and building committee would be on the committee. And then maybe we want to bring some other outside people, but we really want to, hire an engineer to work with us. And I am absolutely leaning towards Stephen Keach, seeing that he's been with us all along and he knows where all the I don't want to say bodies are buried, but he knows where all the intricacies of certain things that happen in the dead of night that other people have a hard time to find, so. And the highway, I have to say, Kyle's, when we were doing the Mastercola parking lot, Kyle's group with Jeff Strong and all those people who came to our aid to try and figure out what the nightmare of spaghetti was under there. I give them a lot of credit, and I thank Kyle and his people for the cooperation and for the expertise that they lent us in the project. There's no replacement for somebody who has been around and has a lot of the history of things. And when they go, oh, I remember that, that's over here. It saves you a lot of money, so you don't go in a direction that you don't need to. So that was much appreciated. But, and I'd like to involve, Kyle in a kind of a consultant kind of fashion to run things by him too, because we want this to be a group a group project. You know, I don't want to task him with, you know, coming to all the meetings and everything like that, but definitely when we come up with something, you know, it has to be run by Kyle, and perhaps this group also as a portion. Haven't decided. I'd like you guys to be involved with what we look at.
Well, thank you. That's what I was getting at. It sounds like you've got some good representation
Yeah.
between Finley and Kyle and yourself on that committee that'll be making input, and we stand ready to serve or answer questions if the committee so feels necessary as part of the town center planning.
Yeah.
Committee. Yeah.
Yeah, I would plan on seeing it as, you know, the de facto kind of center of the town. As, you know, you see people utilizing our facilities all the time, that, you know, once we come up with something formalized, I'd love to bring it before this committee to gain this committee's input, and that will be factored into the equation and the ultimate outcome. So, okay.
Good. We'd like to do that. Any comments from the committee members? Any thoughts, Karen and Bill?
I'm just very curious to see what is decided. Because
So-
I've been hearing about different schools, towns going different ways, and it'll be interesting to see.
Well, we'll be happy to show you what we have, but it won't be at the point as decided. It'll be the point for information, and with your input, then we can come to a joint decision on what is the proper thing to do and how to proceed.
So Matt, on the red house,
My favorite topic, yes.
that didn't get demoed, the money was to demo the house, correct?
Yep.
And it didn't get approved, so it's gonna sit until either another election year,
Yeah,
a different plan that incorporates it. Is that what you said? Kind of?
yes, correct.
So the master plan would incorporate the cost of that demo versus doing it independently?
I think the master plan will look at that activity being a part of the master plan. The master plan itself doesn't really have any costs associated with it other than the engineering fees. But, you know, that would be like, you know, let's say it's step 1, step 2, step 3 type thing. So it would be something, I think it would be a recommendation. I don't want to talk too far ahead. I'm making assumptions that the master plan that we're doing, part of that will include a recommendation to take that building down. I'm saying that, but I'm not saying that as part of the committee that has not been formed yet. That's my assumption, and I shouldn't talk that
I mean,
way.
it's probably speculation, but was the thought that they didn't want to spend the money to take it down, or that they think there's some value there?
I don't know. It was a petition warrant article. I don't believe it was recommended by the board because it was a petition warrant article. And the board sought some value as far as the police using it for training, which they do. I've seen canines in there and everything like that. And, you know, so I'm not sure what the rationale was, but we'll try and find that out, because, you know, the building itself, looking at the various reports that we've got, from a renovation standpoint is not really feasible. So maybe, you know, everything has to be in its time. And if it's part of a larger plan that recommends it, that probably gives it a little more credence to go ahead and do it, as opposed to a petition warrant article.
Yeah.
Right.
I think the board endorsement had a lot to do with it, and they didn't endorse it. And I'm not sure what the budget committee vote was on it either, so.
I see. I wonder why the board didn't endorse it. That's odd. Well,
It was, you know, they thought, the feeling was it still had some use, and the main use was to keep it alive. Probably until the master plan study
yeah.
would hit. in
Yeah,
order for the police to still utilize it as a facility for training,
yeah.
which they have been. So, and that's great. But
Then we
that's
can
all
give
we're
it-
gonna use it for.
Then we can give it to the fire department for training.
I don't think Mrs. Kendall would appreciate that living next door, so.
Oh, okay,
The school board voted 3-1-1 to not recommend it. And the
Right.
budget committee was 6-1-0.
Yeah,
Which a lot of people, I think, were missing that night. But
yep, that's correct.
okay, I just, that's fills in. Questions from the board or comments from the board on the new master plan or anything we should be doing with it right now?
No, we'll
No.
start the
Nick, I'm
process.
going to give you the floor to talk about the website. I saw your earlier report and I thought it was great, and let's hear some more.
Sure. Well, at the last meeting, I had joined you for the discussion about the committee's desire to create a social media presence. And I had a discussion with Bill Cummings earlier this week, and I had agreed to create a town center committee Facebook page and serve as an admin, but only as a placeholder. And I'd be willing to provide assistance to the committee in getting started with that Facebook page. I had suggested to Bill that he be the administrator, but he'd rather another member serve as an admin to the Facebook page. And given his absence today, I made a promise to Bill that I would stress that. So if there's someone else who would want to step into that role, again, I'd be willing to serve as like a co-admin for the time being, and walk anyone through the process, what's involved. And I'm willing to stay on as a placeholder as long as needed, or as soon as that person's comfortable in being the admin. Or if someone who's not a member of the board decides to join, because the other part of that discussion that we had is at the last meeting was I was committed to creating a public service video in an effort to seek a new committee member who may be a creative and may have interest in social media or website creation. So kind of looking to do two things today. If someone is willing to step up and be a placeholder on the page with me, great. And then also I'd like to show you the video that we made to seek a new member. Before I share my screen and play it for you, I just want to stress that whenever we've played a video over a virtual meeting, sometimes things can slow down or kind of be laggy. So if you see anything sort of laggy or slowing down, that's not the video, that's just dealing with Zoom. So I'm going to share my screen.
Somebody wants to come in.
Question for you, Nicholas.
Can you guys see my screen?
No.
See you. I see you, Nick.
You just see me.
Yeah.
The tech guy needs tech support. Great.
You're on your own, my friend.
I may have to do something here. I'm gonna make Justin from Merrimack TV the host of this meeting, and I'm gonna sign out and be right back. I apologize for this. I had just updated my computer yesterday, and it's asking me to change a setting now. So I'm gonna make Justin the host of this meeting, and I'll be right back if the board's cool with that.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, I'm back. I'm going to try to share my screen.
Okay,
Here we go.
Yeah.
oh,
Okay, great.
nice. What do we got here?
Okay, I'm going to play the video.
Are you interested in growing your community? Do you have a passion for social media? The Merrimack Town Center Committee is looking for new members. Their goal is to coordinate the development of a safe and inviting town center for Merrimack Town residents and visitors. The Town Center Committee is looking for someone with experience cultivating and maintaining an engaging social media presence and website. This is an opportunity to be creative and play an active role in the development of Merrimack. To learn more about the town's various boards and committees, please visit the town's website at merrimacknh.gov.
So that's just very simple.
Yeah.
Yep,
I don't want to say generic, but we also sort of wanted to base it off of if we were to do this for another committee, could we kind of just
Yeah.
keep some of the same language and tailor other parts of it specific to that committee? But we made sure that we included the type of person that you're looking for, what their interests may be, their skill sets, and then the call to action to learn more and find out how to become a member. So that's the video that we created. And again, I'm willing to, and where that video would be posted, obviously to the Merrimack TV Facebook page, to our TV channel. I talked to other town departments to make sure that they can share it off of our page. So maybe that can generate some interest. But in the meantime, I'm totally fine with creating the Facebook page. I just need one of you to step up to be an admin. I think Bill suggested Nelson, but
I like that.
I mean, I know how to click on Facebook.
Okay.
If I was to step up, you'd have to take me like baby steps, like Bill Murray or something. You know,
What about Bob?
Yeah. What about Bob? I know nothing technical about Facebook. I can click on the page and say I like somebody's photo or whatever, but I don't know anything about it. So I guess I could try, but you might be frustrated with me. My other question was, I do have 3 daughters that are pretty savvy, but they're all remote. None of them live in Merrimack. They're not even in the state. Could somebody do this remotely if they were willing to volunteer? Or do they have to physically be able to come to Merrimack or whatever?
My thought is maybe we'll find, my thought is hopeful that we would find someone local who would want to join the committee and have this ability to admin a Facebook page. I think, Bill, if you're up for it, you may not necessarily have to do much. I just think it would be appropriate for a current appointed town center committee member to have the have access and have the responsibility of being an admin. And I'd totally be fine with walking you through, how to make a post, and give you some, best practices and ideas for posts. But I think this is just a means of just kind of getting it going, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be launched yet. So we can create the page, and you and I can be admins, and we can work our way around that without the public even seeing it yet. Because you can create a page without it being publicized. Kyle Fox admins the Department of Public Works Facebook page, and as he knows, when he first created that page, it was a page that was hidden. So I'm sure he kept it hidden until he sort of built content or had sort of a plan as to how he was going to use it. So we can kind of be in that stage for the time being.
So unless there's somebody else on the screen that's fighting for the position, I'll be willing to give it a try.
Thank you.
With no promises that hopefully I can learn it.
Well, thank you, Bill. I feel like I've got enough to do with the chair job, but if
I mean, I'd like to learn more about Facebook. Obviously, it's a powerful marketing tool, and I know people use it all the time for all kinds of things.
yeah,
And that's the other reason why, I use Facebook quite often, and we use the Merrimack TV page quite a bit now, especially through the pandemic. We've actually increased our following 3 times. We were just around 500 likes and followers before the pandemic really kicked into high gear, and now we're approaching almost 1,500 followers on our page. So, we've been using it an awful lot. It is a powerful tool. It is a good resource, and it is a good skill set. So it's good. It would be good for you to learn that stuff. And then also, I think just the fact that you're asking someone in interest in using social media is big, because there's a lot of people who want that experience to put on their resume. But if they don't have sort of an active, if they're not actively adminning a Facebook page already, then they have no real reference point or for experience. So,
well, I'll give it a try. I guess what would be step one, to meet with you?
Yeah, I mean, step one would be I'd create the page and then make you an admin, and we can talk about it over Zoom. We can talk about it over the phone. We could meet with the masks on, obviously, at town hall.
Okay. I mean, I have multiple computers. I'm looking at a tablet now, and I have another computer to my right. So I could do a Zoom with you on my tablet and a Facebook on my computer.
Yeah, great.
So.
Excellent. So
thank you, Bill. That helps. That'll help the committee a lot. That's good.
So do you have my email, Nick?
I think I do.
Okay.
I'm going to check right now.
Yeah, you do. I mean, if you.
Yeah, you must, because you sent me the Zoom address. It's
Yes.
Cobalt 2333.
I got it.
Yeah. So whenever you're ready, send me an email, and we'll arrange a time, and hopefully I can learn what I need to learn.
Great. And if the board is satisfied with that video, I'm comfortable with uploading that to our Facebook page this afternoon.
I thought that was a very good job with that video.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
I had seen it before, though. It must be accessible.
We have not posted it.
Maybe you sent me a link somehow. Yeah.
Maybe Bill may have sent you I had an unlisted link, and some of that, we pulled that footage from other pieces that we've shot over the past year or two.
Yeah.
People at the bandstand,
Yeah.
and obviously shots of you guys in the room meeting, and we've been collecting all this B-roll footage now and saving it because we know that we can reuse it for other purposes.
Yeah. Good. It was a good job. Thanks. Thank you for that help. That's a big kickoff start. We're making a little progress here. Yeah. Give it a try, Bill, and holler if you get overwhelmed.
All right.
After this. Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Any comments from anybody on that, or any further things we want to say about it? The next item on our agenda had to do was just to mention that the farmers market is now open. They didn't have any produce, but they're open. It's a little bit early, I guess. They had a few jars of the maple syrup and some other things, but there wasn't any produce. But this is last week's or 2 weeks ago, Wednesday. They're open Wednesdays. They're off to the side at the vault, because the center part of the vault now, where they used to meet, they've loaned it or rented it, I guess, to Amazon, who's running their little trucks out of it, deliveries out of there now. If you notice, all the Amazon trucks are lined up at night. They use that parking lot. So anyway, it's there. I think we've pretty much decided we're not going to participate, but we'll just keep it in mind if anybody changes their mind, wants to run a farmer's market. Anything else we want to do? I think the rest of the year has been canceled in Merrimack as far as 4th of July's and those kind of events. And I don't know if we've got any other thoughts on publicity. If we can get this Facebook thing going, I think it'll be a big, good thing to get off. And I don't have any other thoughts on things that we can do right now. Maybe they'll have a fall party of some kind. Do they have a Halloween party? I don't know. Something at Wasserman. I don't know. They're having movies, but those are not good venues for us to advertise, I don't think.
The library has a Halloween party every year, usually at Wasserman, but I really don't think it's going to happen this year.
How about a turkey shoot? You gonna do a turkey shoot?
Haven't discussed it, but because a new member is joining us now for our next meeting, so we were waiting for planning like that. But again, I wouldn't count on it if the library isn't open fully. We won't be doing the turkey. Maybe, I don't know. It's our biggest fundraiser, so we'll see. But I don't know.
I thought you were going to say turkey trot, and the Rotary Club's still planning on the turkey trot on Thanksgiving Day. The other thing, and hopefully we can pull that off. If we don't pull it off, the Rotary's the Rotary's fine financially, but we're going to really be limited to the donations we can make around town, because we've missed out on a couple of our fundraisers already. So we'll just have a smaller budget. That's all.
Social distancing with a turkey trot, because you can start people at different times. It might be a longer race, or activity, but yeah, you could probably do that.
Right. Hey, what's that, Nelson?
I was wondering where you run. Did you run that from the YMCA?
No, the middle school.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I would assume that sewer project's going to be done by Thanksgiving.
Yes.
That's a summer project.
Yes, it will be.
Yeah. Good. Hey, I lost my thought here, but I know what I was going to say. I'm pretty excited about. I think we pushed. We've been pushing for a while, several years now, for the Woodbury sidewalk project. Is there any possibility we could have some kind of sign up or something? Maybe not yet, but at some point, that says that this was a result of the efforts of the town center committee or something? I mean, I know other people outside of the town center committee had talked about it probably. I'm not intimate to every conversation, obviously, that goes on with the different committees and people in the town and so forth. But I feel like we were one of the groups that was really pushing that Woodbury project. Is there any way we could get publicity for that, and maybe that would generate a new member, or who knows, a new idea, or just some new inputs for us?
Well, we got to give credit to DPW. That's for
well,
sure.
I know they're the ones who kind of made it happen, so to speak.
Yeah.
But we kept it on their radar screen quite a bit.
Yeah, no, if I could, Bill, you're 100% right. Everything we do is derived from that 2009 plan, which you guys developed. So the fact that it's happening is 100% due to the committee.
Eastern
And I
Well-
think the Facebook page is a great way to promote that. I hadn't thought of that, Bill. That's such a good idea. You know, we could tie in, you know, the graphic of the 2009 PED plan, illustrate, I think it was priority number 6, if I recall.
Yeah.
I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, because we had it down the
Illustrate
line
that
because it was so
this is the kind
expensive.
of thing that does with being on a committee and planning, and
Yeah.
although it takes time, this is how stuff gets done in the town that people want. I think that's a fantastic idea.
Well, maybe we can do, I can be talking to Nick about that a little bit.
And I can work with you too on that as well.
Okay, that'd be great.
Kyle, you just brought up a word that triggered a memory in my mind. The existing footbridge has a sign on it that this committee made up for Merrill's Marauders. And it tells
Right.
the story of Merrill's Marauders and all of that. That's still on that bridge. When that bridge goes to the scrap heap, the sign shouldn't go with it.
No, it absolutely would not. We would save the sign.
Make sure to
It
save
would go on the
it.
new bridge for sure.
That's what we want to do, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I thought about that one day as walking around saying, whoa, we don't want them to scrap that out.
Yeah, no question.
Looks like we're not close to that anyway, but anyway, good. Well, okay, Kyle, can you take care of a sign or we know we're gonna do something on the Facebook and I think Bill was suggesting a sign at the site maybe.
So we can definitely do something, you know, Facebook wise, and as Nick mentioned earlier, we can share it on our various platforms.
Yeah,
As Bill was talking, I guess the kind of sign that jumped into my head, and correct me if I'm wrong, Bill, if this is what you're thinking or not, is like you see DOT puts up signs, your turnpike dollars at work kind of thing.
yeah,
Some sort of messaging that way.
Right.
What the message would be, but
Maybe it would be appropriate once construction starts and at the end of the construction, you know, just so long it wasn't a hazard, so that people walking up and down the sidewalk, I know it's going to be a lot of students and they could probably care less, but there will be adults, I'm sure, walking up and down that sidewalk.
they'll be
You know.
driving by it anyway. It should be
Yeah,
visible.
so
Yeah.
we'll think about that for a while, I guess.
Think about it while, especially during construction phase. I think,
Yeah.
yeah.
Good
The,
idea, Kyle.
The Babusick Brook Bridge is all done now. Is that finished, complete? I know
the
it's
Bedford
open.
Road Bridge the project is nearly complete. The bridge is complete.
Okay.
Does that have a sidewalk on it? I'm just curious.
It
I'm not,
does. Yeah.
okay.
This side.
Yeah. So the
Nice.
sidewalk starts probably 20 feet to the west of the bridge or the north, whichever way you're looking at it. Extends over the bridge on the north side of the bridge and ties into the sidewalk that was created as part of the Lilac Court subdivision, which goes on that green space parcel up to Reed's Ferry School.
Good, good.
Yeah, the answer is it's there on one side. Unfortunately, it fades after it gets over the bridge, but that's that's for another day. We'll take that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See the bridge, Bill, because it looks nice. Kyle had flags placed on the bridge and it does look pretty cool.
Okay. I'll have to go to the dump.
Transfer station.
Yeah.
You can always tell the old timers it's a dump.
The transfer station is a dump. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's just the name of the dump. It's not a dump. It's a good station.
It's a good station.
Award winning, I'm sure.
And they do a good job keeping it clean too. I will say that, they do a lot of sweeping in that garage and everything. And when you go in there, you're not tripping over somebody's garbage. Usually when I've been there, it's been pretty clean for, given what it is. I think they deserve some credit for that, for keeping it neat.
Good guys.
Neater than Courier Road.
Actually, maybe neater than Watson Park with what we incurred the last week or so.
Well, I understand. Since we're done our agenda, I just wanted to mention last night's meeting of the council. I did get to see some of it. I happened to exceed my bedtime, so I didn't finish. But you guys heard an earful last night on the public TV from a group of local citizens on Courier Road, and I don't, maybe you can tell us what the final vote was, but anyway, they brought up these horror stories of the activities there, and it's really surprised me because I never go down there, but has been a lot of first of all, people from everywhere and anywhere coming to Wildcat Falls. They exceed the parking capabilities of the lot. They park on Courier Road. They bring in all kinds of things and don't bring much out. So all their trash is left behind. There's been a lot of beer drinking, a lot of beer residue in the property, and I guess some unpleasant altercations with some of the citizens who live there and try and think that's part of their backyard, and it sure isn't, because this. So I don't know. I think they were asking the council to just close it off, and I don't know how the final vote went. And Finley, maybe you can fill us in from your perspective. From my perspective, I was glad I was not on the council.
I suspect, Nelson, you didn't know the vote total because you did go to bed sooner than later. But the Conservation Commission had recommended, I believe unanimously, and the council concurred unanimously to close what will, I think, become 80 acres again, Wildcat Falls Conservation Area. And so it just astounds me. I've never seen this before to this degree, but just leaving garbage all over the place, not caring where they park, ruining things. Watson Park was impacted last week with garbage all over, and some people suspect that maybe they left it in a pile near the the porta potty things there, and the wind blew it around. But I don't know why you can't take your trash out with you. But it was people climbing on top of the pergola. It was testified to, and so when it came to Wildcat Falls, we closed it for the time being, and we will be posting law enforcement for the next 3 weekends, educating people on the fact that they can't go in there now. Which includes all of us, residents, in the vicinity, Courier Road residents, the entire town has to recognize that we're not allowing that now. It's to let the property, be able to be worked on, trails fixed up, things that might have to be taken care of, and breaking the habit is one. I can't remember who one of the council members said they wanted to. Oh, I think it was Nancy wanted to. Break the momentum because it's been getting worse and worse. So while I generally would never have agreed to this, it was just absolutely necessary in my estimation. So that's where it is today.
Yeah, we of course have been advertising our Sauhegan River Trail as being a wonderful access to Wildcat Falls, and we have to backpedal on that a little bit, I think, before Sauhegan River Trail gets a black eye.
No, that might be something, because that's what happened. It was conservation members had posted on, I think it was TripAdvisor and hiking websites saying, what we had here, and once it caught on, it just went like wildfire. So it's now noted, from what I understand, on Google, that it's a temporarily closed. I think I got an email from a member of the conservation committee this morning, and they said that they've done that. They've done their things. They're taking care of it on their end. It was Gina Rosati who had said they're taking things down. We didn't vote on renaming it, but that's what the desires of Conservation Commission, go back to 80 acres, which is what I've called it anyhow, even since the change. But so they think that would make it so the search for it might be a little more difficult in the future. So as opposed to looking for the falls, 80 acres is kind of nondescript, or doesn't describe the falls anyhow. But so we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping that things will settle down, and they will in the near term for sure. I'm hoping when it gets reopened, it'll kind of be our little gem again.
Finley, you didn't tell Nelson about the picture last night on public access of him on the rope swing.
That's excellent, Bill. I forgot. So it was a picture from a couple years ago of you, Nelson, swinging out on the improvised rope swing that somebody put on. So
That had to be photoshopped. I knew it.
I actually have it as my screensaver on my phone and laptop.
well, I used to go there as a kid all the time, and not all the time, but occasionally. And I was never bold enough to jump off the cliff, but my friends surely did. And it's a nice place, but you have to know there's a rock under the water you have to be aware of when you're jumping off that cliff and so on. But it's a deep area, and when you're young, you love those things. And when you're old too, you just don't take the time to do it anymore, I guess. But
You know better.
you know better. Yeah.
You know what can happen. Well, you've been here when a kid, a teenager, was killed in there, right, Finley? About
Oh
5
yes.
years
Yeah.
ago.
There have been a few. Somebody pointed out last night that there were three. I think it was Wendy Thomas claimed that there were three over a 5-year period or something. There have been a few over the years.
Yeah.
It's always sad when that kind of thing happens because
Yeah.
kids are kids and they want to have fun. And in the hot summer days, there's nothing better than some place like Wildcat Falls.
Yeah.
But they have to be careful. But
Well, hopefully we can get it under control, and that'll be good. And we just got to be a little careful about advertising it, and
right. And back to your point, Nelson, I think that if we have anything out there, we might want to fix that up a little bit for sure. If we have anything notifying of.
Yeah, I don't think we do right now, but I'll take a look at our brochures and make sure they don't reference it. I think they might reference it as a destination for the Sauhegan River Trail. We made a brochure of that.
Right. And I don't know. I mean, with technology, it's all out there for the world to see. So it's.
Yeah, but we just don't need to hand out anymore.
Yeah.
We've got those, or we can amend it in some way to make it.
Sure. A little bit less obvious. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that is all I have today. Oh, we have public comments. There's a way the public can come in on this meeting, but nobody did, as far as I know. Nick would know. Nick is the host.
We've had no phone calls today.
Good. How about next meeting? When do we want to get together again, or when is a good time to get together again? I think
Didn't we say we were going to take the summer off, Nelson?
I think we did, but we haven't done it yet. So this is the chance to do it. We can take the summer off unless there's something we need to do. We can go till September if that would be the preference of the committee.
I would propose we go to maybe the second or third week of September.
That would be the 11th or the 18th of September. Anybody have any thoughts on that?
Whatever is best.
What?
Whatever is best. If it's a Zoom meeting, I can do almost anyone because I can just pull over on the side of the road if I had to, which I thought I knew yesterday was Thursday, but in my mind it was Friday. And I called Nelson and said, I'm going to be a few minutes late because I'm wrapping up a job. He said it's tomorrow. So
Well, if you've just pulled over to the road, you picked a nice place to do it because in the background is some artwork hanging on the wall and it doesn't look like your truck.
No, this one isn't. But I sat at the pool last meeting because I was watching my grandchildren, which we do on Fridays quite a bit. And I was hiding at the pool and then all of a sudden the mosquitoes started coming out and so I was fighting them off and all of a sudden the boys came down and we finally wrapped up the meeting. So I was safe, but but the Zoom thing, it works out pretty easily. So, or the virtual meeting I was told.
Well, September 11 or 18, what's the choice, Karen? You're waving your hand?
No, actually, I was kind of shrugging my shoulders saying it really doesn't matter. I can do either one.
Okay, well, let's do 18. We'll give us a
Okay.
little more time to accomplish some things, whatever they are.
September 18th, same time, same place.
Yeah. Nick, can you help us again doing what you've just done to make all this happen, this magic?
It'll happen.
Thanks, Nick. And you and I will be in touch in the meantime.
Yes. You can't take the summer off from that.
All right. I gotta run, guys, so I'm gonna say bye-bye and have a great weekend.
Bill, if you get hung up in there and want some help from me, give me a call. I'll be there.
All right,
Okay.
thanks. Take care, guys.
Take care.
Yeah.
Good summer.
Bye.
Hey, guys.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
We're all
Nick, let me know when you put that video out and I'll share it on our page.
I'll do that. You'll probably get it in about an hour.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Great. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, you too. Take care.
Thank you, Nick, for your help.
So are we adjourning?
I think we are adjourned.
Very
Oh, I
good.
didn't take a vote, did I? Everybody was in favor. I'll put everybody in favor.
I think that's it. They're gone, so it's all adjourned.
If
All right,
they're
guys.
gone, that's appropriate, huh?
You're right.
Thanks for everything.
Okay, thank you.
Guys, take care.
Merrimack TV is committed to our community. From gavel-to-gavel coverage of town and school board meetings to updates on town services and projects, we aim to keep you connected.
Good morning. I'm Kyle Fox, Public Works Director for the town of Merrimack.
Hi, I'm Diane Trippett. I'm the town clerk tax collector for the town of Merrimack.
I'm Captain Matt Tarleton with the Merrimack, New Hampshire Police Department.
And keep the public informed of every motion
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
and many moments, so you can be confident that we're here for you. Thanks for watching. Stay connected. Follow Merrimack TV on Facebook.